Today we're going to go over some of the more advanced Docksal commands that you may have occasion to use during your development process. First, I want to show you finbash. Finbash will actually SSH us inside of the Docker container and allow us to run arbitrary Unix commands. So if I list this out, you can see here's my Drupal installation, and I can do whatever I like in here. Say I want to fetch some file from an external server. I can do that with curl. The next command I want to show you is finexec. Finexec is just like finbash, only it runs a single command at a time. So let's say, for instance, we want to check if wget is installed inside of our Docker container. Well, we can just run finexec wget, and what will happen is we'll be SSH'd into the Docker container. This command will run, and then the SSH connection will terminate as soon as this command is done running. So if we run, you can see that we get the normal output that you expect from wget. So we know that wget is installed on our Docker container. What I use these two commands for most is developing an init script. So when I develop an init script, what I like to do is kind of work one line at a time. I'll SSH into my Docker container, I'll run a command, see what the output is, and if I'm not quite happy with the command, try a new one. And each time I get a command that I'm happy with, copy and paste it into my init script. Next, I want to show you how to access the logs from your Docksal environment. You do that simply with finlogs. Now you'll notice the logs from every aspect of your system, the database server, the CLI server, and the web servers, are all sort of intermingled together. I find it very handy to target the particular server I'm interested in by specifying the name. So finlogs web or finlogs CLI. I mostly have occasion to grab logs from the web server because that's where our PHP processes run, and that's where logs from our PHP fatals will appear. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to deliberately introduce a PHP fatal error. I'll do that here in bootstrap.inc, and I'll reload the page. And by the way, I should point out this sort of pretty printed stack trace is not something Docksal does out of the box. It's very easy to turn on. You turn this on by, first of all, you got to enable xdebug in docksal.env. And second of all, you just need to change these two settings in php.ini. So turn on HTML errors and turn on xdebug auto trace. That's sort of beside the point. That this is about accessing the logs. So now that I'm getting stack traces and I'm logging them with Docksal, I can come back to the logs anytime I want, and I'll be able to get this information. So I'll run that again, finlogs web. And I know it's a little bit hard to read just because of sort of the wealth of information, but what you'll find is basically starting from here down. Starting from here down, you have all the information that's contained in this table, and this will of course persist into perpetuity. So you can see right here, call to undefined function on line 2271, which matches the xdebug output, which also matches the place where this error was introduced. So that's how to access the logs with Docksal. Next, I want to show you how to run drush with Docksal. It's pretty simple. You just run fin drush. Note I'm in the doc root directory right now. This won't work if you're above the doc root directory. So if I try and cd one up such that I'm next to the doc root directory and run fin-drush again, you'll see I get the same result that I get if I were to run drush from my desktop. So cd back into doc root. We can do all the normal things that we can do with drush on any other system. Just always have to remember to type fin before our drush commands. If you want to get a user login link, for instance, you use drush ULI, just like you would for any system. And that'll allow you to log in. One helpful tip here, I'll often find that I forget just the muscle memory of having typed drush so many times. I often find that I forget to type fin before. What you can do is, and this is a standard Linux tool, this has nothing to do with Docksal in particular, you can just run fin, exclamation point, exclamation point. And what it'll do is it'll run your previous command preceded by the word fin. And here we go, our command now runs. Finally, I want to show you how to run Drupal Console from within Docksal. There's some instructions about it here on the GitHub repository, but let me walk you through it. First, remember, console is only applicable to Drupal 8, so I've installed a Drupal 8 website here inside of Docksal. It's no problem running a Drupal 8 and a Drupal 7 site side by side on in the same environment. And Docksal comes pre-installed with Drupal Console inside of it. One kind of oddity to note about the way the Drupal Console works now, and if it's been a while since you've last used it, this might come as a surprise, but what you're meant to do is actually install Drupal Console new for each individual project. So I'm simplifying this a little bit, but basically there's a globally installed binary that launches the Drupal Console instance that is independently installed in each Drupal 8 website that you create on your site. Now the documentation will take you through how to install Drupal Console on your site. But if you're using the sample Drupal 8 project that's available on GitHub and that you can create with the Drupal Create Site Wizard, you actually already have this step completed for you, so we don't need to do it here. We can skip right to using Drupal Console as soon as our site has been created. So I have to be in the doc root directory. It won't work if I'm in a higher directory. And I'll give the command fin Drupal list. And here you can see all of the Drupal Console commands that are available to me. And what I'm going to use Drupal Console for now is I'm going to create a new module. And I'll pause the screen recording while we run through the wizard. Okay, so the Drupal Console wizard has finished, and we'll come over here to our Drupal installation and take a look in our modules directory. And there it is. There's the module that we just generated using fin and Drupal Console together. So this has been Advanced Development Commands with Docksal.